All right. Hey, everybody. This is Eric with the Drumetic. Thanks for stopping by for another episode of the Backbeat. Today, I've got my friend Gaz Graham with me. Gaz, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. You?
I'm doing well. So good. So good to finally make this happen. We chatted off, like on the social medias, but never face to
Yeah,
face.
yeah. No, well, sort of face to face, digitally face to
Well,
face.
right. Yeah. Not like I can't reach out and, yeah,
I haven't come to stalk your factory just yet.
not yet. Not yet. But that's okay. Like it sounds a lot less threatening to say come to stock your factory versus your home. You know,
That's a good point, actually.
he wasn't stalking our home.
No, it was just a
Loretta,
little show.
Loretta,
It's okay.
relax. I know this guy. There is actually a guy who walks the street by our house. He's done it for like the last 60 years. And but one day he came down our driveway and our security cameras caught him like peeking into our barns and stuff.
Oh
We
wow.
were like, well then, you keep an eye on that. I mean, he's pretty harmless. But anyway, but you would be welcome to come and look into our barns. No
Oh,
problem.
okay.
No problem there. So you're sporting the Attic Custom Drum shirt. Totally appreciate it. We're both repping tonight. Awesome.
Of course.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about your drumming. You have I've been following you on the tubes for man at least a couple of years now, I think.
Yeah.
And kind of watched the setup shift from different drums, but like a hybrid thing to a fully acoustic thing, and
Back to
and
hybrid, back to fully acoustic, back to fully electric. Yeah.
it's so let's start with what got you into playing drums.
High school. And I in high school I was not what you would class as the outstanding student. So I sort of gravitated across to our music department and I hid out there for days on end. And I just picked up a set of drumsticks and started going. And then
Nice.
it basically stemmed from there.
Gotcha. So did you start playing in band at school or?
Now, a lot of it was just so we didn't have YouTube as a thing back then. So some of us are old enough to remember when we didn't have YouTube for training. So yeah, we were running through the music books and tapes, all of
Yeah.
that stuff for just to learn how to play. It wasn't until probably 10, 15 years after that I actually did the band thing.
Nice, nice. What was your first kit?
It was a little Ludwig four-piece. It had the ride cymbal was actually mounted to the bass drum.
Okay.
So just off to where the tom stand is normally, there's a little stand in there for the ride cymbal, and that's where that thing sat with a tom on either side.
Awesome. I've seen it's like a little L shaped thing, right? That goes into the
No,
holder.
this one came straight up.
Oh, straight up. Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it
wow.
was sort of kind of halfway down between top and side, and this bracket just came straight up.
Wow. I know that I haven't seen. Do you still have that kit?
Oh God, no. That was what, late 80s, early 90s. No, actually it was earlier. Yeah, no, late 80s, early 90s.
Gotcha. It sounds like we're pretty close in age because I started playing in 1987.
I would have been so I was what, 11, 12 when I started playing, so that would have been 86.
Okay. Yeah. So I just turned 49. So we're like,
So you're 49 already.
yeah.
Oh, you're older than me then.
All right then.
I have to wait until October for that one.
I love it. I love it. And it's funny because even like doing YouTube now as a drummer, the amount of stuff that's available to people starting out is insane.
Yeah.
And I think that the fun of the way we had to do it was, you had to interact with another human being at some point to either get a book or a DVD or take lessons. And
Yeah, you had no choice. There was always some social interaction there to do one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the drummer at our church had a Dave Weckl video. And we were going over to his house and just like, holy crap, I will never be that good at this at all.
It's funny because that thought's followed me through my entire drumming progress. There's always somebody you look at it and go, holy crap, I'll never be that good.
Right.
It doesn't matter how high up. Right now, it's that El Estepario Siberiano. I don't know if you've got any of his stuff.
No, I'll have to check it out.
Check that out. That man is a beast.
Oh wow. I've Larnell Lewis. I've watched some of his stuff and
I've seen some of his stuff in Drumeo where he listens to the song one time through and then plays. It's like, yeah, okay.
yeah, I'd listen to it one time through and be like, can I hear it again?
I listened to it one time through and it's like, no, next.
Do you have anything simpler? Yeah, that's how I am too.
Do you have anything that counts in 4?
Well, I can't even count as high as that seemed to go. Yeah, and I had a friend of mine one time was like, you need to check out Animals as Leaders, I think is what the name of the band was. And it's like all this like really complicated like mathematic polyrhythm stuff. And he's like, what did you think? I'm like, my head hurt, dude. Like I couldn't enjoy it. I was just trying to wrap my head around it. And it's like, I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's kind of like listening to Dream Theater. That's the same type of deal.
Okay.
And all that weird time signatures, all of that, and you spend most of your time trying to. Or at least I spend most of my time trying to count. It's like, okay, what time signature are we in right now? 17. Oh, good God.
No, that's how I would be doing it. Yeah. I'd be like, what? Is there a way to edit this section out so it's all in 4?
Yeah, it's like, can I cover this video but only play the bits where there's no drums?
I love that. That's so funny. I would nail that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be easy.
I would be the best not playing in a song than as anybody else. I'd be like, they'd be like, that dude is amazing. Look at his control. Mm-hmm. He knows when to not play.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so fun.
He's playing for the music, not himself.
That's right. Like, honestly, I don't even know how to play. So, but I've always kind of thought of myself as like a meat and potatoes kind of drummer. Yeah. And I think that, like you were talking about, he's playing for the song. And that's always kind of how it lived, like in all seriousness, how I've tried to approach stuff. And one of the things I love about the way that you do your covers is some of them I've never heard the original, but I listen to what you're playing and everything you do like serves the song. It's not look at my awesome chops. It's serving the song, and I can close my eyes and imagine that this is the original, drummer playing that track.
Yeah, and I've always done it that way, mainly because I can't drum that well. So rather than try to show off, I just keep it nice and level. Although it is kind of funny because when I record some of these, I have got some intricate fills, occasional stick tricks and things thrown in there when I'm doing the practice. When I go to do the recording, all that goes out the window because I can't pull it off.
I understand.
Yeah, I've heard it a couple of times from a few of us that as soon as that little red light in the camera goes on, it just goes to pieces.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, it is the strangest thing ever.
It's all of a sudden the pressure's on.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how simple, I don't want to say simple, but it doesn't matter how simple the song is. As soon as you try to add something different, once that camera's on, that's when you make the mistakes.
Right.
At least for me.
Yeah, well, I always find it for me too. It's dangerous to, unless it's a real simple thing that I'm like, hey, I wonder but if it requires any more thought than, oh yeah, I can go ba-ba instead of ba,
yeah, that's about it.
It's like, no, I'm going to throw that idea out because I didn't practice it. And, and so the people at church, when I play at church, probably hate me because I spend practice like playing, figuring out what I think sounds best with the song. So I'll be like, here.
Let me stop you there. What's that P word you're using? Practice.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
it's something that I definitely all around need to do more of. Yeah.
In all honesty, I probably should.
Well, I first of all, if we're honest, if everybody's honest, I think playing with songs is more fun.
Oh yeah.
Than pulling out a book and just for 20 minutes playing with a click. Like that's good, but it's like golfing. Like I don't want to go to the driving range. If I'm going to play, I want to go play, even if it sucks. It's more fun to be out there. And so definitely I'm always working toward like the next cover, or the next, like what everything I'm listening to is what's coming down down the pipeline for us. And then for a while I did pretty good about spending 15 minutes every day, either working with a stick control book or with a click track. And then one of my buddies said, why don't you just use a loop and play with that instead of a click? I'm like, that sounds like a lot more fun. So
yeah,
it's like, and I was like, they're all in Logic. What? So speaking of Logic, what you're doing all acoustic right now, right?
Yep.
What are you using to record?
Logic.
Awesome.
And I'm using the Focusrite 18i20.
Okay.
Plus the Octopre for the inputs. So I've got a 16 input set up.
Nice.
And I use 12 of them. Not because I need to, but I've got microphones, so I just start filling up the spaces.
That's right. So now speaking of having microphones, are you micing like top and bottom of your snare?
Yeah. So we've got top, bottom of the snare. I've got a Lewitt 604 Rex in the kick, which is the two microphones in one. So there's a dynamic and a condenser in the single microphone.
Okay, that's cool. I've not even heard of that.
And then I use 3 overheads, so left, right, and center. Because what I tried to do with the overhead, my room in here is tiny. It's a bedroom. So I try not to capture an overall kit sound. I just tried to capture the cymbals and use the close mics for the actual kit sound.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, this space is small too. And I think it looks, the way Loretta films it, looks deceptively deep. And to anybody that's ever come in, is like, oh, wow, this is a really small room. But yeah, but I didn't even think about putting a center mic in for the overheads, because I've got them, kind of over the sides to pick up the cymbals, and all that. And
I only use the center one just because I have those couple little splashes up front, and they don't always project off up to the sides. It just depends what I'm doing. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
Gotcha. Now tell me about your kit. What kit are you playing right now?
That is a PDP. It's a PDP something.
Is it what
it's a Concept Maple.
Concept Maple. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it a Concept Maple? Yeah. It sounds great. Like you've got it tuned up and EQ'd really well. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it.
Okay. You don't like the kit, or like you don't like the sound you're getting?
I don't like the sound I get in this room.
Okay.
I don't think the Maple sounds that great in here, because I had the Mapex Mars Birch kit, the little white one I had.
Okay.
And that white one, that was the one that went, it was full acoustic. I converted it to electronic, took it back to full acoustic. And that was the Birch shells. And those worked really well in here. But because I can't help myself by buying new and shiny things, I went and bought this 7-piece PDP. And nice. It's a great kit. It really is. I'm not keen on the sound.
Gotcha. It's just not working for what your ear wants to hear in your space.
It takes me a lot of time on the back end to EQ that stuff in, to get it to sound what I have in my head. And that's part of the thing with the EQ. Everybody has their own idea of what their stuff should sound like.
Right.
And you spend a lot of time trying to find that.
Yeah, I find that frustrating.
Yeah.
Too. I just kind of want to play and then be done.
Oh, it's funny. I've started enjoying the mixing and stuff more than the playing these days.
Okay. What about it? What about it? Do you think you're enjoying more?
I think for me it's getting into it, and here's what you start with and here's what you end up with. And it's two completely different, or at least if you're doing it properly, it's two completely different things.
Right. That is cool. It's almost like I've done like some film work and stuff, and they say there's the movie you write, there's the movie you film, and the movie that gets edited.
Yeah.
And there's familiarities in each of them, but the final product isn't identical to where it started. And I feel like the mixing process is kind of like that. That too. All the pieces are there, but what I'm hearing when I record isn't what I just want it to sound good to me, and then I'll tweak it for the song.
Yeah, exactly. That, and I mean, just learning all the sort of intricacies of getting that done. It's like if I move this compressor here, it does this. That's not sounding quite right. Okay, so we'll drop this plug-in and that sort of thing. I enjoy doing that sort of stuff.
It's kind of fun to experiment with it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. A friend of mine was just telling me that a drummer that he plays with always is, I think it was just drop everything out but like 60 hertz. Like, I just want the 60 hertz frequency on the bass drum. And people look at him and he's like, just do it. You'll thank me later. And he gets this real punchy, solid sound out of his kick.
And it's like in my overheads, I drop everything below 400. I take that high pass filter all the way up to 400 because I'm trying to drop out the snare and the kick and most of the toms. I don't want that stuff up there, or at least as little of that as I can get.
I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit.
Again, that's based on the room, because I'm not trying to capture a big room sound of the entire drum kit. I just want to focus cymbal sound, so I'm cutting away the bottom side of the kit.
Well, see, that's really cool. I didn't even think about like, how can I get less of the drums from here so it does focus on the cymbals? Because like, if I want more cymbal sound, and then I also get those EQs affecting the tom, the tom sound, the snare sound and stuff. So that's really cool to know. That's a helpful tip. I'll definitely have to experiment with that. I want to jump back and ask you about, I think it was the kit you had before the PDP. It was the hybrid kit, but it was like a custom design on the shells. Yep. And I always thought it was really, really neat looking. Tell me about that. Like, what was the design? What brought you to that? And
so that was the Mapex Mars. So that
was
kit, that poor little kit has been fully acoustic, fully electronic, hybrid electronic, fully acoustic, back to fully electronic. That's been through the ringer. I've had that for a few years. The wrap was actually just a wrap.
Okay.
I was looking, so it's a bonewood color, the stock, which is it's really white with some brown mixed through it to make it look like bone, which was kind of boring. And I originally bought that as a cheap acoustic kit to do an A to E conversion on, because that was the intent for that kit right from the start. So I wanted to make it look a bit better. So did some searching, looked for some wraps, found Bum Wrap Drum Company.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and went through their selection. I was like, I quite like the look of that one, and then just went for that.
Nice. And it did look really cool. I always noticed that. I was watching you play, and then also like looking at the finish around the drums. I was like, that looks so neat because it's so unique.
And that was it. It was just something to be different.
Yeah.
I
love it.
And that's the other thing with, I guess, the whole YouTube deal is you try to find something just to be slightly different so that somebody will come and watch that's watching everybody else, but they can see something different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What's going to set you apart, or not set you apart, but make you stand out? Yeah. From there's a lot of us out there, right? So what do we do that is unique to Gaz Graham? What is he doing?
There's even more of us than there was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. And one of the things that I was just thinking about this week as I was setting up the next shout outs and such, it is amazing how many people just call their channels drum covers. Like, that's it. Or my drum cover channel. And I type it in, and it brings up everybody that has a drum cover channel. And I'm like, oh, it's like, this is why it's important
Maybe I need to try that one.
to to name, like, when you put in Gaz Graham, and it brings you up. That's, it's a unique thing. And it's easier to find things that way. But I think that's what we did when we started planning for the Drum Addict. Before we even had this space, we were watching drum cover videos, and mostly it was like the bigger channels, because I didn't even know there was a community of people like you and me doing this. And so it was like Quibus and Cooper Drummer and people like that. And so I was like, okay, what can we do? Like, because obviously my drumming's not going to have people knocking my door down. So like,
yeah,
what can we do? And we decided we wanted our thing to really just be connecting with people and just kind of sharing some of our stuff. And so we were like, okay, that's our thing. That's what sets us apart. And I was right. Nobody's come knocking on my door to offer me endorsements.
Oh, surely not.
That's the guy. The mediocre drummer. We got to have him.
It's funny because I kind of approached YouTube the same way you did. And I started watching Cobus and all of those guys. And I was playing at home. I had the setup and I was playing that stuff. And it was like, okay, so these guys are doing this. And then I started catching some of the smaller channels. And this was probably 5-6 years ago. And I was like, okay, these guys are doing this. I can do that. And that's how it started. It was really a way just for me to do something. So after moving to the States, I never played in a band. Up until moving to the States, I was in the same band constantly for about 15 years. So I took to the YouTube thing just as a way to do something still with music.
Right. Yeah. That's what it's been for me too. Like, like I've this has kind of been like a way for me to fully express myself musically, with nobody being like, here's the songs we're doing. And like in a church, I play with some great guys and gals, and I love doing that. Yeah. But there were, and it's because they're cool people and they're good musicians. It's always fun and it's always interesting. I've had previous experiences where it just left me feeling so unfulfilled musically, and I was thankful for people that were like, hey, do you want to play this show? Like for our college theater, but yes, please. Yes, and please. So now I get to do, there's nobody pigeonholing me into something. So I feel like I get to play whatever I want, whenever I want. And there's something that's fun and exciting about that, because you're always exploring,
Yeah. That's kind of the way I approach it too. Is I don't have a plan of what I'm going to cover. Essentially, a lot of them I'm listening to the radio, and something will pop up in the radio that I remember from years ago. It's like, yep, that's the one. We'll go do that. And that's usually the day before I actually record the cover.
Okay.
So I play it through a couple of times and then just lay it down.
That's pretty impressive.
Which is why you hear so many different styles and hell, I've got Eric Cartman singing Poker Face. Yeah, I've got all sorts of weird and random stuff on there, because I guess for me it's stuff I want to do. If other people like it, great. That's yes. If somebody else can get enjoyment out of that, that's great. But essentially it's stuff that I want to play.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, if it's not fun for you,
yeah,
it's not going to be fun for somebody watching, because you just look like somebody that's not having any fun.
That's funny, because somebody keeps digging me about that, because I look miserable while I'm playing. I was like, really? That's not miserable face. That's my concentrating face. I can't do smile.
It's hard. Like I can be a pretty animated person, but I find that behind the drums, I'm a little bit more like not focused, but I'll get into it sometimes, but if I get into it too much, I start rushing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like I'm more often like just
that's kind of how I approach it. Even back when I was playing live, I had the same sort of setup as Nickel McBrain, where the toms are up high, the cymbals are all sitting like this, and nobody can see you. So I'm just playing away there. Nobody can really see what's going on back there, but they can hear it, and I'm in my happy place.
That's so awesome. Yeah, and so there's no, you don't have to perform beyond the drums, beyond the playing.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty wild. So you mentioned Eric Cartman singing Poker Face, and I might get this wrong, but I thought there was one of the things that I do enjoy about your channel is some of the crazy stuff that you do. Like I want to say there was a mashup with maybe Let the Bodies Hit the Floor and the Wiggles or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I immediately grabbed Loretta and said, watch this.
Chris, throwback drummer, he did the reaction to that one, and he was expecting Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. And all of a sudden, it was this nursery rhyme type style that came on. I got a hell of a kick out of watching that one.
That's fun. Yeah, those are cool that he's doing. And actually, I think I did see him do the reaction, and it was so fun because I know what my reaction was.
Yeah,
the first time I heard it, it was like, oh yeah, wait, oh, you know, like this takes a minute for it to come full circle what's happening, and it was great, and I love that because that's another thing that like sets you apart, like as you're doing stuff that not everybody's covering.
Thing that not everybody does.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I put it in there.
I love it. How about influences when you started playing when you were 12, 13? How did you who were the guys that you were like, or gals that you were like, I want to play like that?
Cozy Powell, Clive Burr, and Barrymore Barlow from Jethro Tull.
Gotcha.
Any of the Jethro Tull series of drummers were a big influence. I can't play that stuff. I can play little bits and pieces, but their actual style and the way they put that stuff together was always a driving influence for me.
Nice. And that's a band that I'm familiar with by name, but I've not checked out any of their stuff. And so these conversations like this with people always make me go, I'm gonna go check that out. I want to hear what sparked.
And anything Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
That was probably the biggest influence throughout high school. I was the little metal kid standing off in the corner with his Iron Maiden t-shirt with no friends.
Oh no!
Because everybody else was popular and didn't like heavy metal.
It definitely there was a moment for it where it definitely wasn't the cool thing to be.
No,
it was like, yeah, they were the kind of the oddballs.
You got into the 80s and everything went sort of electronic and dancey and that that type of thing. But there's me just being the rebel in the corner.
Iron Maiden. Put them in the Iron Maiden. Yeah, Iron Maiden. Excellent. Execute them. Bogus. Okay. I just had to get that full Bill and Ted quote out there. Awesome. Well, that's really cool. And those were some different influences. A lot of, and not that there's anything wrong, a lot of people talk about, Bonham and Peart and, guys like that. And it was different for me too. I didn't grow up listening to Zeppelin or certainly didn't. Any of those bands. So
my mom liked the Beatles and the Monkees. My dad was into Elvis and Jethro Tull. So out of the four choices of what we used to listen to, I just went for Jethro Tull because I couldn't stand the other three.
Gotcha.
So this is the best of the four. I'm going this way.
1 out of 4. That's not bad.
25% average is good enough.
That'll work. And then that probably opened the doors to other music and other drummers. That's always so cool. And what about are there any current drummers, any modern drummers that you're like, man, this kid is really crushing it?
Eloy Casagrande. Ellis De Barrio, I still cannot say his name. He's Spanish, I believe. Ellis De Barrio Siberiano.
Sounds like a big name.
Yeah, you should check him out. He's good.
I'm not. You'll have to send me a link because I'm not sure I would even be able to frame the right letters together to find it.
Yeah, I'll say it. And then you go back a few years, think drummers like Drum. So he used to do the classical music or the Mario stuff and put drums to that. He was good.
Nice, very cool.
So I mean, it always changes. There's always somebody you watch because you know they're better than you, but you can pick up stuff from them.
Absolutely.
And of course, these days they all do some form of YouTube tutorial video. Get your double bass pedal sounding like me, and you know all of that sort of stuff. So you watch that stuff.
I always feel like we're always like in the middle of, no matter where you are on the beginner to expert like spectrum, we're always in the middle because I feel like there's always it's always moving with us. Like, so there's always somebody coming up behind us that knows less and is learning from watching, you know, hopefully, you know, picking up little things from us. And there's always people in front of us that are better than us, and you're watching them and picking up things from them, and it's a constant like give and take.
I really like seeing the ones coming up behind us. One that springs to mind at the moment is Toby. 11
Oh
drums.
gosh, yes,
that kid rocks because he can play.
It's crazy.
I don't remember ever being able to play double kick as clean as he can, even when I was at my best at playing.
Yeah, I think he's how old we were when we started playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it's
he's light years ahead of where I was at that time.
It's crazy, and he's such a cool kid too.
Yeah,
he's always like, "Oh, thanks, man. You know, I appreciate that." And you're like, dude, like, I don't know if you realize, like, really, like, how amazing what you're doing at your age is. It's crazy good. Yeah.
It's like we're all impressed with you. Don't worry about
it. Yeah, I think as we grow, like, humility is such a big thing, to be approachable and not be I don't have time for those people. We've all met those people, you know, the people that are like, I'm not interested in talking or helping anybody out. But and I never keep the previous takes. Like, if I screw it up, we do it all again.
Yeah, see, I'm exactly the same way. So if any one of the videos you watch, they're all a single take playthrough, but it may not be the first take I've done of that song.
Right. Same.
I could be 12 takes in. I don't mix and match them together because I can't be bothered sitting there trying to match up two different sets of video and two different sets of audio. It's always one take, start to finish. That's it, done.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to do that, kudos. But I'm too lazy to do that.
See, yeah, I'm exactly the same.
And
no.
And it kind of, you get more of a live feel, I think, like,
yeah.
Or maybe that's just me, but
I agree. I'm not here to be perfect. I make mistakes. Yeah. And as long as they're not glaringly noticeable, you know, like I punched a stick across the room and it's stuck in a wall or something like that,
right?
Then I'll use that take.
Right. Yeah. And then there's that's always me gauging how bad was this error, and is it worth redoing, or is it worth, you know, keeping it in? Like, how bad?
Saying, okay, that's good enough. Let's just go.
Yeah. It's like something that happens to me a lot. I'll end up like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll end up like catching a rim and not getting the full tone out of the tom. And I'm like, all again. Like, if I totally missed a break, okay, let's do that again. But
yeah, but see, that's different if you're at the end of the song or the beginning of the song. Because if you're at the beginning of the song, you'll stop that and redo it. If you're at the end of the song, that's a bigger challenge.
Yes.
Like, how many times have I played this already? Do I really feel like doing it
again? And can I? It's really annoying when everything up to that point near the end you feel has been pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, it's felt good. The fills are good. The groove is right. And then there's this one thing at the end, and you're like, do I want to risk?
Yeah.
Not doing this as well to make up for this.
That is the dilemma. And 9 times out of 10, I just leave it the way it is. Because I mean, I'm not here to be perfect, because that's not the way I play.
Yeah.
I I do it as honestly as I can. I don't cheat. I don't sample none of that stuff. I just put it out there.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it's like when you're playing with a band, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's out there. It's you get one shot at it, a night.
Well, except we're re-recording it 4 or 5 times. But yeah, it's just exactly like playing with a live band.
Well, but I mean, like when you just use a single take or leaving a mistake in, that's yeah, it's definitely not. The environment is definitely very, very different. You have the luxury of going, oh, I messed that up. Let's go back.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're not Metallica live on stage where you can stop a song and then restart it because your name's Lars Ulrich.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And people pay hundreds of dollars to go and see you do that.
That's crazy. I saw the best meme about Lars. It just made me laugh. It said, I realized we didn't introduce any of this conversation, but it's so funny. I think I'm gonna have to just pop it in. But it was Lars making some face behind the drums where his tongue was. I was like, or whatever. Yeah. And it's in the face Lars makes when he goes to the bank, even though you hate him. Like, yeah,
that sounds about right.
Like maybe I'm not the best drummer in the world, but I'm making a crap load of money.
Yeah, I'm making money.
So man, those guys have been around for forever too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. I just recently started listening to some of their stuff. I'd never got into it before, and I think I like as much of it as I don't care for. Like,
okay,
I'm like, yeah, I get it. I felt like I gravitated more toward like the Black album, versus like the early stuff like Master of Puppets.
And I was going to say I'm the exact opposite of that. Yeah. I was one of those. The Black album, it didn't kill them for me. It wasn't quite the same. I went back to Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, those albums, which is the sort of thrashier, heavier versions. That was the stuff I liked.
See, now I wonder if I had been introduced to them when those were the albums that were there, if I would have felt differently about them. That you know what I mean? That I feel coming into it later, having whatever 30 something odd years of preferences under my belt.
Yeah. Over that time, you've built your preferences. You know what you like listening to, so it makes it harder to adjust to something different. Yeah,
right. And it comes back to that. If I and the art is so subjective like this, but if I enjoy it, if I have fun playing it, then that's the stuff I want to listen to. Is the stuff that I think I would have fun playing with. And I really enjoyed Enter Sandman, mostly because I could do it. And of course I cheated a little bit and left out all of like in the beginnings because I was trying to learn it in a hurry, and I'm like, I'll just do the one that I know is here, and then there's going to be 15 other drummers in this, and so I'll just do the tom part, and we'll get this over to Ash.
I did the same thing. I sat back. It's like, no, I am not playing that last bit. As long as one other person can hit it, I don't have to.
That's right. And there's a good chance out of 16, there's going to be at least one.
One person's going to hit it somewhere.
That's funny. I love it. What if we popped your iPod on? That was old school. Your Spotify. What are you listening to right now?
A lot of Ghost.
Gotcha.
I'm a big Ghost fan.
You've done several covers, yeah.
I've done, yeah. And then a lot of 70s stuff. I started getting back into the 70s. So I have Sirius XM in the car. So when I'm driving, my drive commute to work's about an hour both ways. So I spend a lot of time like 70s on 7, that type of thing. Gotcha, so getting into a lot of the old Mamas and Papas, and some of the more recent covers I've done came from that, shockingly enough. You get some of the original Cher stuff, the Mamas and the Papas.
Right. Awesome. I love too the variety that what you're listening to is reflected, I think, in, like you said, in what you're doing on your channel, which is always exciting. And I think, did you do the Ghost cover of Jesus He Knows Me, the Genesis too? Thought you did. I'd heard it a couple other places too, but I was like, I'm 99% sure Gaz did this too, and it was very cool. I dig that song, and I was like, oh, this is a very cool.
I think it's a cool song, except for the breakdown in the middle.
I'll have to go back and
where it slows down to go halftime, they could have left that. It kind of grinds the song to a halt.
gotcha.
The rest of the song's great, but I could have cut that middle bit out.
And then just kept it up tempo.
Yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned your commute to work. What do you do when you're not playing drums, either for fun or for work, or what do you like to do?
Oh shit, there is other things than drums.
Not many.
So work-wise, I'm a maintenance director for a transit agency here in Texas.
Okay.
That's what takes up most of my time these days. Other than that, the wife and I go out on the bike. I've got a Harley Electroglide, so we go coasting about in the weekends, doing some trips.
Love it. Nice.
I like to go camping. Unfortunately, neither of my cars can pull a trailer because they're just little two-door. One's a Camaro and one's another sporty little car.
So
I don't see me whipping a trailer in the back of one of those.
Be a very, very small trailer.
Yeah, see, my idea of camping is a full-size trailer with AC.
There you go. I'm with you.
And a television. Has to have a television.
I love it. That's real. That's roughing it 4-star style.
That's so I can watch my YouTube cover videos of everybody when they're releasing.
Yes.
I can be in the middle of nowhere and still watching your drum covers.
That's awesome. That's cool. I used to always want to get a motorcycle, and then I saw a wreck and I was like, I don't know, but that's just because I'm afraid of pain. So I try to. Now Loretta, on the other hand, is a freaking daredevil. She's an adrenaline junkie.
Well, she must be getting that close to you while you're playing.
Yeah.
That's right. The cymbals.
There was one a long time ago where she came in over the cymbal as I hit it, and you could I think I cut to a different camera, but I should have kept it in. But the camera went way up in the air like this. But I try to watch for her because she'll get right up underneath, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to hit that cymbal now. I gotta, I'm going to use this one. But she loves.
I remember watching some of your other videos, and it's always like, where's she going now? How in the hell did the camera get in there?
I love it. My dad used to watch the videos and be like, try to spot Loretta in the other cameras. He'd be like, there she is. There's her leg. There's Loretta. So now we try to cut around it more just so it's more fluid. But I'm like, but it's part of what's happening in the room, and it's it's fun. And there's been a handful of people that I'm watching their videos, and then I'll see that they've been have a moving camera, and I'll be like, dude, I love the moving camera. They're like, yeah, I told them Eric's wife does it for him. Why won't you do it for me? And I made my wife. It's like, that's funny. I was like, maybe don't phrase it like that to them.
Maybe I'll need to try that with my wife.
Hey, babe, come do cameras for me. But she loves it. I'm just fortunate that she likes being involved with it, and it's such a big part of what we do here. So what when you think about your YouTube channel, what can we look forward to from your channel in the future?
More mediocrity, just like you've had in the past. I've started looking at different things. My big problem is I'm not an extrovert. I don't have that get in front of the camera and talk to everybody type of personality. I like sitting behind things and just doing what I have to do. So I've been looking at a couple of different ways of doing, things like mini tutorials. Here's how I record this. Here's the EQ. Here's the VSTs and things that I use. Here's how I use that type of thing. And and the reason I started looking at that is there are a ton of them out there already. None of them really focus on somebody who's never touched it before.
It assumes you know something already.
Yeah. It's almost like they're missing a step so that you're not getting to that same level that they're at. And whether that's intentional or not, because obviously they don't want to lose work because now everybody can do the same thing.
Right.
So I started looking at it as like, okay, so we just take this absolute step by step and don't miss anything. Am I an expert? No. But I have gathered some stuff that could make somebody dangerous. So we'll look at putting that in a video and see if it does anything.
Well, I would definitely be interested in watching that because I feel like I've been thankful for people that have you know popped in and made helpful suggestions on
Mhm.
mixing, and not just popped in and dropped like a bomb of about something, but a private message me be like, hey, I think you've tried this on your
Yeah.
snare drum, And so I would definitely watch like a long form video even of what
Yeah.
you're doing, because I'm always eager to try to get better sounds out of what I'm doing and all that. What advice? Also, you cracked me up with your. Is it on your channel? It says mediocre drumming and questionable song choices.
Yep, that's on the title screen.
Yeah. Do you have any merchandise? Because if not, we need to make you a store that has that
No,
on it.
I don't. But yeah, that's definitely something we could work on.
We definitely need to do that. We need to do that. I
I'll,
love.
I'll I'll go broke buying my own stuff. It's okay.
It's I get like I'll get bored and I'll just have an idea and then I'll create stuff for our spring store. There is way more on our spring store than I could ever own to model for people. So it's just like every so often we'll buy two different designs that we could both wear,
Mhm.
and well, she's like, just go ahead and get what fits you and then I'll wear it. And I'm like, yeah, but do you want something that fits you better than like this is real big
This
on
this real boat, yeah.
you, right? She's like, no, I like them bigger. I'm like, okay, cool. Anyways, well, we'll talk about that because I love uh, doing that
Yeah,
stuff. So anyway,
that'd be cool because I'm probably due for a refresh for some of that stuff. I mean,
sweet.
even my channel logo is me standing in Vegas with a rum slushy and a little plushy poo face, and I'm drunk behind this little plushy poo face because we've been in Vegas for a few hours, and
You had me at rum slushy. I definitely want to try that at some point. I'm going to go tell Loretta,
Oh yeah,
there is a rum slushy. We have to find one. That sounds pretty good.
just buy an ice maker and make your own.
That sounds even cheaper.
One of those little crushed ice things.
Okay, nice. So it's really simple. I thought it was
Oh yeah.
something
Oh no.
magical.
It's magical if you do it right. The making it's no tricky.
That's funny. I love it. So, what advice would you give to somebody starting out on the drums and YouTube? What would you tell them?
Take your time and keep your expectations reasonable. If it's one of those. It's a long, slow progress to start getting to where you think you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if I look at me, this is 5 years now. So I think I dropped my first cover in 2018, and I'm sitting around about 380 subscribers, and that's 5 years worth of progress, and I'm okay with that for the
Gotcha.
most part. Sometimes it's like, oh, come on, really? What do I do? What do I have to do differently to start bumping that
Well,
up?
and that surprises me, honestly, because you're one of the guys out there that I would say is not to impugn anybody else. We're all different places in our journey,
Mm-hmm.
but you're one of the guys, the handful of guys that I look at and I go, man, he is really good at this. And I don't say that just to throw sunshine and rainbows at you. I really mean
It's
that.
okay. I've written the check out for that one already. I'll send that one to
Oh,
you.
sweet. I'll
As
give
soon
you
as
my
I have,
address.
yeah, that's okay.
That's how I'm going to start marketing these interviews. Like, how many nice things and how nice do you want them to be? Here's the feed chart.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's good.
But take your time and don't have unrealistic expectations. I think that's
Excuse
very
me.
smart.
Yeah, and also don't spend all of your money at once. Don't buy a lot of unnecessary gear.
Yeah.
I mean, for recording purposes, I guarantee you, but everybody has a cell phone these days. And if you have a half decent cell phone, you've got a camera right there. Yeah, the
Yeah.
audio is not going to be great, but it gets you going and it gets you moving.
Yeah. Absolutely. I did a cover years and years ago just to kind of chart my progress on it was before this channel existed. And it was a Green Day tune. And I just had like a little Zoom with the little XY mics,
Mm-hmm.
and I just set it up in the room.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you don't, and that thing, I think that thing might have been a couple $100.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a decent recording for yourself.
It doesn't have to be expensive to get started. And don't be me. Just because it's new and shiny doesn't mean it's good.
But it is. I'm with you. It's so hard to resist new and shiny. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You didn't even think about it for like a year and you walked past it.
I don't even think about it for a year. Usually it's in the first couple of weeks. It's like, yeah, that's coming here. Come on.
It's easy.
Then I buy it and it's like, why did I buy this? Really?
Immediate buyer's remorse.
It's funny because the one story for that one that comes to mind is that Yamaha, the little trigger thing they have.
Oh yeah, the EAD
EAD 10 or something. Yeah, I bought one of those, and within 2 weeks I sent it back.
Okay, what didn't you like about it?
I didn't like the sound it was getting, but I already had a fully mic'd up kit. So I wasn't looking for that quick way to record, and I don't do sampling on the kit either. So it didn't fit what I needed. And it was what, $400-500 that I didn't need to spend.
Yeah.
It was like, Sweetwater, remember that 45-day return policy you have? Here.
Were they good about that?
Now send me that DW snare drum.
We'll trade. I still wanted to have the money gone, but I wanted something I was going to use.
Yeah, the money's already spent. I just want something else that's shiny.
that I'm going to play and love forever. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is super awesome. Cool, man. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed chatting with you and getting to laugh and just kind of learn a little bit more about your journey. Cool. It's been a lot of fun. We'll do it again. We'll do like a Where Are They Now episode at some
Where's Waldo?
also let me say that I love your channel intro where you pop up and you're like it makes me laugh every time. I'm like, this is the best.
Yeah, but wait a minute, are you laughing because it's funny or because I'm funny looking?
Oh no, definitely. Definitely because it's hilarious. Yeah, it's definitely funny. It's great. Well, you guys, listen, if you haven't already, head over to Gaz's channel. I'll put links up here. I'll put them in the description and in a pinned comment up below. Be sure to check him out, subscribe. Great guy, great drummer, lots of fun musical choices happening over there. And look for new merch from Gaz in the future.
And remember, set your expectations low.
Yes, that's just so you're never disappointed that way. All right, you guys, thanks for stopping by. Gaz, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime, Eric.
Appreciate it. You guys. We will see you next time.